If you've seen The Lion Guard and Lion King 2, then surely you must have noticed that Kion was nowhere to be seen. Why is that? Are there some secrets the writer was trying to hide from us? Or maybe a few facts slipped our notice in the movie? Well, in this video you will discover some hidden gems that you may not have noticed before, and you'd understand fully why Kion was absent in The Lion King 2. So stay till the end of this video for the full gist. First, let's start from what we know. We do know that Kiara is Kion's older sister, and we know in Lion King 2 she's the future queen of Pride Lands. But while we see her life and developments, Kion is nowhere to be found, despite the fact that he was a fearless lion and leader of the Lion Guard. So did the writers make a mistake? Or is there something more we're missing here? To answer that, we must first piece the story together. In The Lion Guard, we first meet Kiara and Kion as Simba and Nala's cubs. Kiara is the older sibling and future queen of the Pride Lands, while Kion is more carefree and fun-loving. But what's more interesting is that even in the new movie, Mufasa, it appears Kion is introduced for the first time as Kiara's brother too. Now his name is not mentioned at all because he was just born, but The Lion Guard and Lion King 1 have already established that fact. But back to Kion's story. We also know one day, Kion discovers he has the Roar of the Elders, a magical roar that gives him incredible power and connects him to the great kings of the past. So Simba tasks Kion with forming the Lion Guard, a team responsible for protecting the Pride Lands. This is where Kion's journey as a leader begins, while Kiara focuses on preparing to become queen. Now, this is where things get interesting. Throughout the Lion Guard, we see moments where Kiara and Kion interact. They have a typical sibling relationship. Kiara often acts more mature and tries to give advice, while Kion is a little more rebellious and focused on his own duties. Sure, there's occasional tension, especially when Kion feels like he's living in Kiara's shadow, or when Kiara dismisses his Lion Guard responsibilities as less important than her future role as queen. Still, there is no bad blood, and it's clear that Kiara is future queen.
Because I'm training to be
Queen of the Pride Lands. Yeah, I know all about it, Kiara.
So this leaves a question: where was Kion when Kiara needed him the most? It all begins when Kiara is out on a patrol, practicing her future queenly duties, when Zara, the vengeful leader of the Outsiders, ambushes her with her lionesses. You see, Zara holds a grudge against Simba for banishing her and her pride from the Pride Lands after Scar's reign ended. She's raising her son, Kovu, to infiltrate the Pride Lands and eventually overthrow Simba. But in this attack, her goal is to send a direct message to Simba by threatening Kiara's life. One thing was for sure, Kiara was in trouble, but there was still no Kion. Where did he go? In the Lion's Guard, we see Scar's forces had launched an all-out attack, and the Pride Lands were in chaos. Kion, as the leader, was in the thick of it, using the Roar of the Elders to protect his home. He fought with everything he had, his instincts sharp and his courage unwavering, until Ashari, the cunning cobra, made his move. Kion didn't see the snake coming. In the heat of the battle, with dust and roars filling the air, Ushari slithered silently through the chaos. Then, in one swift strike, he bit Kion, leaving a mark on his face that looked just like Scar's.
I look just like Scar!
The venom spread quickly. At first, it was just a searing ache in his paw, but soon Kion started to feel different. His emotions felt harder to control. For a moment there, it seemed like the almighty kind and fearless Kion was going to turn evil.
Forget it, Bikini! The Tulise is not working anymore!
Evil.
But that was just the beginning. Not only were his friends beginning to get scared, we see that even Kion himself began to have his doubts that he will end up like Scar.
What if I really am turning evil? Just like Scar did.
But if you remember, towards the end of Lion's Guard, Kion and his company gets informed that Kiara and Pride Rock are in trouble because ZR and her lionesses are attacking. So this tells us the two stories were happening around the same time.
But if Zira's lions are still in the Pride Lands, something's up.
Yeah, we need to return to the Pride Lands and see what's happened.
But Kion was going through some challenges with his fear of being evil. How was he ready to fight with Kiara against Zira? Now, this is where good old Rafiki, remember him? Rafiki, ever the wise and spiritual guide, noticed just how much Kion was struggling. Rafiki wasn't blind to the changes in Kion, the fear, the doubt, and the inner turmoil that had taken root in him since the Cobra bite. This is where he tells Kion to go seek the Tree of Life.
But there is still hope. If Kion is to get better, he must seek out the Tree of Life.
So for sure, Kion had to leave, but this decision too wasn't easy. He had always felt a deep sense of responsibility to the Pride Lands and the Lion Guard, but his struggles with his power and his fear of hurting those he loved were too great. So Kion set out with the Lion Guard, leaving behind the Pride Lands in search of the Tree of Life. The journey wasn't easy, the path was long, filled with unfamiliar dangers and challenges. They traveled across vast lands, encountering hostile creatures, rough terrain, and unpredictable weather. Kion's fears continued to haunt him. What if the roar couldn't be controlled? What if he wasn't strong enough to lead the Lion Guard or protect the Pride Lands? But despite all these doubts, Kion pressed on. He had a goal now: to heal, to regain control, and to return stronger. Finally, after much hardship, they arrived at the Tree of Life. It was everything Kion had imagined and more. The tree stood towering before them, its branches reaching high into the sky, a symbol of life and healing. The air around it seemed charged with energy, and the sense of peace was overwhelming. Kion knew deep down that this was where he was meant to be. At the Tree of Life, Kion began the process of healing. The power of the tree helped him recover from the physical effects of the venom, but more importantly, it helped him find peace within himself. He learned to control the roar of the elders again, no longer fearing it, but embracing it as a gift. His confidence returned, and with it, a sense of clarity and purpose. This was the gist of the Lion Guard movie. Meanwhile, in The Lion King, this was around the time Kiara, now Queen of Pride Lands, was fighting Zira. And the two movies came together beautifully, right at the point when Kion and his company made it to Pride Lands. By then the fight was over, and he was informed by Kiara on what was going on.
No, Kion, you don't understand. Kovu has joined our pride. So has Vitani, and the rest of Zira's pride.
So why was Kion absent from Lion King 2? Kion wasn't in The Lion King 2. Because the movie takes place during Kiara's childhood, long before Kion's character was introduced. The Lion King 2 focuses on Kiara's journey, her relationship with Kovu, and the conflict between Simba's pride and the outsiders. Kion, as a character, was introduced later in The Lion Guard, a separate series that takes place after the events of the films. By the time The Lion King 2 was made, Kion hadn't yet been born or was too young to be part of the story, and his storyline hadn't been developed yet. The timeline discrepancies between the films and The Lion Guard meant Kion's character and his story, including his journey to the Tree of Life, came much later. But what do you think about all these? Do you think that Kion should have been in Lion King 2 after all, or did the story play out perfectly the way it did, Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more.